right. So,
so look, let's. I think we didn't talk enough about all that. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, we need
tell
to
them the story that really got our relationship locked in tight. So
okay.
You was the driver, so
we need to go ahead and put this out there.
Yeah, we gotta put it out there.
Okay,
man.
okay.
People y'all might not believe it, but it happened.
This is an honest to God true story. First off, the only other witness was Marcus Triggs. Some of y'all might know him. He was only at Valley for a couple years.
No, freshman year, that was it.
That was it. Out of Tampa, Florida. This incident may have made him be like, you know what? This white people are crazy. This is I'm going back to Tampa.
I see you, Wag.
B-Wag, what's going on?
Shout out Mama's marriage.
Yeah, shout out to Wag. I went to attend his wedding on last Saturday in Amy, Louisiana.
Oh, congrats.
So shout out to him. Congrats to him. I wish y'all nothing but the best. You know.
All right, so
go ahead.
The story. Let's see. So it's 02 freshman year. I'm trying to paint the picture here. So
it's like September, October-ish.
It had to have been during football season.
Oh, it was like week 2 or 3.
So it was early in the school year. We had only known each other for a couple of months, just like Trey, Marcus Trey's in the back. So we're in my 2002 Mitsubishi Eclipse, 2-door, really small.
Small.
Trig was in the back, tinted windows, and back in 02 there was not much. There was nothing in Itta Bena.
Nothing
to eat after a certain
Church's Chicken,
right?
I think was.
No, I don't think it was there. But so some of y'all that know, there's a Crystal in Greenwood. Y'all know that Crystal and Greenwood was the only thing after midnight you can go get something to eat. So anyway, we load up in the Eclipse. I don't know how Trey got in the car. I don't remember.
He was laying across the back.
I don't remember the details before.
You couldn't really sit in there.
Or after. Yeah, it was little bucket seats. Yeah. But so for those of y'all that don't know, Highway 82 is dark. From Itta Bena to Greenwood, there's hardly any lights. A lot of big trees, forest. There's one turn where you take a left. Now we're coming from Itta Bena to Greenwood, so we're going east. There's one turn to go to Clarksdale, Mississippi. I don't know what highway that is or road that is.
No clue.
But it's one of these stoplights that it's never fully working. It's either the blinking orange or the blinking red kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's hardly any traffic. So 2, 3 in the morning, we're going from Itta Bena to Greenwood. I'm driving fast. Of course, I don't know what the speed limit is, but I'm probably going 80 plus.
Like 65, I think it is.
Something like that. I'm speeding. And, as we come up to the ridge where you can see the light, we notice it's red, which is odd. You're like, man, it's red. Why is the light red? Right. As we get closer and closer, the car that's in the turn lane, we realize, oh shit, that's a state trooper. So of course, what do? You start putting on your seatbelt, making sure that you're cool and everything, because we were just speeding, windows were tinted, and the one thing I've learned about police is that all they need is a reason.
One reason.
And
I know.
If they don't have a reason, then you got to know your rights to be protected. So in that sense, I knew my tint was legal. I always make sure to do the limit when I go, and a lot of people don't know that. There's a certain limit for tint that you can have. Mm-hmm. You can get a sticker put on there. The cop asked, he said, I pulled you over because your tint. Nope, there's my sticker. Have a nice day.
Right.
Or you had to keep your paperwork or something. Anyway, all this stuff starts going through my head. Is he gonna hit the lights or whatever? As we pull up right next to the police officer, state trooper. So you got to. I'm in a little bitty Eclipse, but I think they were in a Crown Vic. Mm-hmm. 2 lanes. That's it. Me and Malcolm. Imagine us reversed.
Right.
I'm driving. You're in the passenger seat. Triggs in the back. Literally 2 feet, a foot. You can reach out and touch the state trooper car.
Right.
Okay. So, you pull up to the cop and kind of look to the left, and the first thing that catches your eye is the fully dressed Ku Klux Klan members in the back seat of the state trooper car. When I mean fully dressed, I mean hats,
Hood on.
holes in the eyes, the fully clothed, and there's 3 of them sitting in the back seat, stiff as a board, just tucked in, and they're just looking straight ahead. And the second thing that catches your eye is the police officer that's driving. White guy, a hat, looking straight ahead. And, you know, all this stuff starts going through your head. With 30 seconds, what felt like, you know, an hour was just about 20, 30 seconds. You know, I don't remember anything being said besides Trey saying, I was telling you earlier, he said, but if they hit the lights, don't stop.
True story.
So
True
anyway,
story.
the light turned green, they turned left, we start going straight. And, you know, we're thinking, they arrested these dudes? No, they didn't arrest them.
Right.
Why are they fully dressed?
Shit, no.
He was taking them somewhere.
Clean
Or
riddance.
he was transporting them somewhere. Regardless of anything that could have happened, didn't happen. That police officer works in the same building as the Black State Trooper.
Right.
And you know, has no clue what his fellow officer is doing. Now, this is not just to jump on these officers. We're just telling a story.
Right.
Because that story kind of, you know, after it happened, it was like, man, we just went through some stuff. You know,
Right.
I've been at this school for 2 months now, and this is my first experience. And that was something that kind of was true in a sense. All my 4 or 5 years at Valley there was still, and I know there's a lot of good people in Greenwood, but there was still literally two sides of the tracks.
Right. Oh, yeah.
In Greenwood, you know, Itabena was more close knit. But like I said, I know my feelings were different than yours. So I guess people will probably want to hear more what was going through your mind when that happened, because it was kind of surreal.
Yeah, well, it really was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so all right. So how I remember it, we was hungry. Ain't nowhere to eat near the Bena. We going to get something to eat. We pull up on side, the Klan in the back seat of the police car, and I'm with a white dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the car with a white dude. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Like, we ain't had no really, like, of course there's racism in Louisiana, and it ain't really like undercover. Like, people know, and it's a lot different than, I ain't gonna say it's a lot different than Mississippi, but Mississippi, from my experience and what I learned, is more in your face racism than back in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Louisiana got that sneaky shit. So, but my experiences, I ain't really had no problems. So, but I was aware, very, very much so. My dad and my grandfather, civil rights movement, Jim Crow era, all that. So I was ready for these, you know, situations mentally. But, you know, I thought I knew, you know, how I would be able to react. So when I see it and I see your face.
Has you ever seen one before?
No, never in my life. This is my first time, and the main warning that I was getting, like, hey, be careful out there in Mississippi, man. You know, it's going, hey, you never know. You don't do nothing crazy.
This is going to Clarksdale. It's like home of Morgan Freeman.
We hungry.
Right.
I ain't even thinking about none of that.
Right.
I'm just ready to get something to eat. You know, because I had the munchies. So, anyway, when I see what you saw, and I saw this stupid look on your face, because you didn't know what to do, but you was like, get down. So I'm like, what are you tripping? Oh, boom, pop, lean back all the way, because I ain't want to get seen with a nigger lover. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I went through my head. They gonna see him, think he a nigger lover. They gonna kill us all. They gonna kill every one of us.
I mean, you gotta. I hate to talk about what ifs, but this could have been their passage to God knows what. Hey, I got a white guy into black.
I know all about the NAACP workers that got killed in like the 60s. Mm-hmm. So I know about that. And I'm thinking, I don't care who I'm with, the Klan, I gotta go. So I'm automatically, like, I'm leaning back, but I'm like reaching for the handle of the door. So if you make any false move, I'm gonna punch you in your shit and run. and if they make a move, I'm still running. So it don't matter.
Did
Like,
you ever think that, like, man, Butts might sell me out?
I definitely thought about it. I ain't know you for a couple months.
Butts might
I had just met you.
or is this a setup? You
Buzz
know?
might
No
see me up
clue.
a tree.
No
Is
clue.
Butts trying to get in?
There's a
the
lot of
shit?
trees around here, and I don't know how many ropes they got in the car. So I'm just like, I'm about to run. I'm gonna punch Butts in his shit first, just to make sure. You know what I'm saying? But I could see how scared you was, just as scared as me. I could see it. Like, you could look at a person and tell.
Yeah.
It's like a dog can. So I'm knowing, like, shit, Butts just as scared as I am, if not more. So I'm gonna just lay back and just keep my hand on it where this door handle at, and as soon as I find out,
Soon to be stopped.
if they when this light turn green, we good. But if she go wild, I'm out of here. I'm running these woods. Wish me the best. I had been working out, so I was gonna run all night.
Yeah, we was in shape, but it was. I guess the surreal part about it was, like, a part of me thought, do I punch it? Do I just do I need to go?
And I think you might have said that, like, do I go? You might have asked us that.
Like, what if he pulls a gun out right now or something?
Right.
Or what if he rams? It's like, do we just need to run this red light?
That's
and
what
then,
Trey was thinking. He just punch
Trey
it.
from Tampa, he just wanted to get out of it. But anyway, it was just one of those things where, and we made mention, you fast forward 9 years later, you and myself were returning back to Valley. I don't know if Clarence is still here, but we were doing camps, football camp, special teams camp up at Valley, and we got pulled over on a back road coming from Itabena to 49. Yeah, so, I also had been going 90. We were just outside of Florida County. State trooper pulls us over. And I know the first thing goes to both of our minds is, we're back where we were last time we saw
that was the second time we had been next to the police.
Yeah,
we had never been pulled over.
Never been pulled over. But,
me and Bass, that's another story.
Okay, so
You like living, boy?
I mean, we gonna tell me and Bass, we gonna have him as a guest officially one time, but we got hella stories. We can't tell them all.
Right, but we get 9 years later, we're doing a camp. We get pulled over. We're like, listen, we went to Valley. We're doing a camp back there. He's like, listen, I went to Valley. It's all good.
That's right.
You just have a nice day. Be careful. Slow down.
That's right.
We even had a recruit with us that we'd taken up there, but he talked to us, understood, and I got that from a lot of police officers in Itabena. They were, we used to have parties on Slay Street in Itabena.
Bonfires.
And we were doing illegal things bonfire-wise, and the police would show up, and they would see so many people interacting, not just black people, not just white people, but
right.
The diversity, and they were always in the sense of, please be careful. We never got harassed.
Nope.
We never got shut down. Nobody ever got arrested, went to jail. Nobody ever died. They just let us do our thing. Anyway, talking about the state trooper, and like we said earlier, that black state trooper has no idea that someone he possibly could have worked with or still work with,
Right.
who 9 years ago, that state trooper, he might be up in the ranks right now, right?
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, maybe he had to do that to
Citizen
get himself
council,
to set
whatever,
himself up.
all that.
I don't like to be one of those guys who just
But you just gotta look at scenarios and say what are the possibilities that this person could. What could have been going on? Why they got three?
Where were they
Klan
going?
members? They didn't. I do not believe that they was going to jail.
No, they would not have
They
been
was
fully
fully
dressed.
clothed.
And you wouldn't have had three of them in the back seat.
No,
But
not with one cop. Maybe it were a couple cars.
right,
Because if it's us, they coming 10 deep, 10 cars deep with 2 in every car. There's 20 cops against one person.
okay, all right. So let's get back to what I mentioned earlier about giving the cops a reason, right? And then we can kind of tie it into what's really going on.
Right, what's happening
with George Floyd and Houston, right? It's from Houston, right? You know that? That's a fact. I know that. Houston. Houston. I don't know. That's why I'm ripping my jersey. So, police, all they need is a reason. And I don't know. I wasn't there. Yeah, I've seen the video like everyone has, but the reason that has been put out there was what? He was trying to write a bad check or falsify forgery with some money, right?
Yeah.
With some money, over some money. He looked like a pretty big guy too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was like an all-state tight end.
Okay.
You
The
know,
only
and
one.
basketball. He was like 2-sport all-state champion, whatever. Like he did his thing.
So he gave the cops a reason. So now they feel like they can impose their.
And he was laying that SmackDown on the beach.
Well, so
That's not him.
the one thing I remember was the Asian cop who was looking at the people. The Asian cop.
Oh.
Okay, so he was so engaged with the people that he wasn't turned around looking here. But they said something like, "Why do you got to do that to him?" And he mentioned in the video, beginning of it, "Well, we tried to 10 minutes ago, but he was resisting." Right?
Lying his ass off.
But regardless, even if he did resist and all that happened, still the end result of how it was handled was, of course, improper, right?
Bro.
And it should, have to suffer the consequences.
This shit is just like unbelievable. Like even like I've been seeing like random people who usually say like racist shit on the internet, being like, "Oh shit, I ain't got nothing." Like I don't even know what to say. Because I usually would try to defend the police this one, but I ain't got nothing. They want to defend the police and say that this shit is justified because that's what they always do. You know what I'm saying? So I look back. It happened here in Baton Rouge. We like a couple minutes from where it happened in Baton Rouge and we're out in Sterling, which is right where I grew up, right in my neighborhood. And he had a gun on him though. So people like, oh, he was gonna shoot the cops.
There's a reason though.
Yeah, so they justify it all of that, and then they blame everybody who their reactions afterwards and say, oh, blah, blah, blah. So it's some bullshit. But also the dude came out here and killed the police in here in Baton Rouge too. Like,
real American hero.
I don't think that was right, but it is a cause and effect situation. Like if Alvin Sterling don't die, then the cops don't die. And I actually went to middle school with one of the cops who got killed. So like, and it was a black dude. So like this dude ain't never had no problem with nobody ever. Like the nicest dude ever. He got a 1-year-old son, like, and he died because Blaine Salamone, the one who did the shooting, is a bitch. You know what I'm saying? And shot this dude for no reason really. Because it ain't just because of the interaction, but he pulled up, hopped out the car, and was like,
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, he actually
killed him.
So he got fired. He got put on paid administrative leave, got fired, and then that was it. So, and I know people who know him. You know, I work at Santa Monica High now, which is like majority white people. And it's cool. They let me do my thing. I'm teaching African American studies over there next year. So,
like on how high?
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. So I'm teaching, the real truth at the white school.
Right.
And I taught it at the black school for 5 years, did my thing. So I'm really excited about it. And I ain't gonna just, go crazy, but I'm gonna tell the truth. And people gonna have to accept facts. And the fact of the matter with the Alvin Sterling situation is that it didn't have to happen. And a lot of people in Baton Rouge try to justify it. But with this George Floyd situation, a lot of those same people ain't got nothing to say because that cop who stood on his neck was just like the biggest jerk of all time.
Okay, but let's go back to us seeing the state trooper with the Klans members. Something inside him, right? That police officer, like his parents didn't raise him like us.
No.
Right.
right.
Like my dad went through segregation, where
both. He went through both of them.
He was one of the last white kids in Jackson, Mississippi, Chastain Middle School. I told you this before.
Right.
Because his parents couldn't afford to move out.
Right.
So when all the white people were leaving Jackson, he was one of the last ones left. It wasn't until he got stabbed with a fork in middle school in his hand.
They just stabbed my dog Marty up, man. I ain't with that.
They stabbed him. My dad said, I wanted my milk. I put my hand over my milk. Fork came in my hand. I gave him the milk, and we left the school the next day. You know what I mean? So
that ain't even funny for real, but I can see that's on some you
anyway,
eat your cornbread.
Anyway,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying in terms of
hell no, you can't have my cornbread.
Like his parents didn't have the mindset of, well, we got to get our son out of here. it wasn't until something happened where I was like, okay.
Right.
But they didn't have that initial mindset of, we got to get them out. Just like
it's rare. It's rare.
My mom is full Italian. Greenville, Mississippi. The black community and Italian community have, close roots in Greenville, which is part of the Delta. Going back to, mid 1900s. Things like that.
Shout out to the Delta.
Right. And like your mother and father and your older brothers, like, you weren't raised in that manner, and I really believe that his upbringing, there's still evil within his mother and father, grandmother, grandfather, whatever, to where they pass these thoughts and influences down to him, so it's in his heart. Like, it's legitimately like,
it's deeply
right
ingrained.
Black.
Not just his parents, his teachers, his uncles, his people in the church.
Influencers.
Like, like the church used to be, they would go to church and then they would be like, all right, after church, man, we gonna lynch this nigga, you heard me? Like, all y'all show up, make sure you bring some shit to bring, we gonna cut his ears off and his balls, and then we gonna go home after church.
Listen,
true story, it's the truth.
Well, no, and that's the thing, is that people don't realize.
They made flyers and everything.
Yeah. People think, oh, that happened so long ago. People living right now, my grandmother's included. I got both grandmothers still living. One's in their 90s.
What's your grandmother's name? The one from
Signa does he plays.
What's her name though? What you call her?
Florence Signa Noni. That's my name.
Noni, yeah, Noni.
Anyway,
shout out to Noni. She the truth.
So, it's one of those things where our grandparents, great grandparents, that are living right now in this country, have direct ties, if not encounters, as either owning or being one, being a slave, owning a slave. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not far. So in terms of the generational influence, it's easily there.
Oh, it's there for sure.
Because you just grew up. But what's going to do it is we still got 2 more generations we got to go.
It's probably more than that.
Every time something like this happens, it feels like we get reset back to the beginning.
It's like it's crazy because it's weird, honestly, because I think we are progressing at the same time because a lot more people are becoming more aware of the situation. Like when these things happen with the George Floyds and the Alvin Sterlings and the Ahmaud Arbery and the random Amy Cooper who called the damn police on a man for watching birds. Like, what black dude you know that watch birds? Like, I watch them, but I ain't no bird watcher. You know what I'm saying? I like birds, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping on no going to the park and watch a bird. What he gonna do? He like the nerdiest dude in the world. You call the police. He black. He trying to hurt me. He black. Like, you know the police gonna come. So you saying that because he black. Like, you automatically doing that.
But they have these preconceived, scared notions.
Yeah, because they're ignorant as hell. And they don't even try to learn. Like, this one of the reasons why me and you connected so on the level that we did. And even you and everybody else around the whole school.
Right.
Like, because you wasn't tripping on that. And you would be like, what up? You know? And if we had any conversations where I was, like, pissed off about some racial shit, you would just listen to me and be like, you know what, Reed, I feel you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I got other white friends that do the same thing. But other ones who don't. And they not my friends, though. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I'd had them conversations. And I invite people to have a conversation with me because I done my homework. And you can't really tell me nothing because, you know, your daughter is my goddaughter, Ava. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Ava. And I like pull that card, like, you know, people be like, I'm not racist, I got a black friend.
I hate that.
Yeah, like, but you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I do that with people like, look, I got a white goddaughter. I'll do anything for her.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
I hate when people
it
talk
ain't
about that. When the incident comes up, well, I have, you know, this and that, and, you know, I have this friend's, well, it's still irrelevant because, you know, I had a black girlfriend, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not racist. Right. Well, even the slave owners used to have sex with the black girls.
Thomas Jefferson, the president who wrote the Declaration of Independence that said everybody created equal. Right. Yeah, I'm a school teacher, y'all, so I be on my civics shit.
But I don't know. It's just it's crazy to think that.
You know what? We should get together and write a book. Beyond the cotton fields.
His minds, and that's the thing is that I feel like his mindset was already made up. Not that mentally he thought I'm gonna kill him, but in the moment he didn't care. Like he didn't care what happened.
Shit.
You know what I mean? He wanted to be in control, and it just seemed like everyone. I mean, I'm saying stuff everyone already knows. It was not necessary, and there were other ways it could have handled it. It's like we teach school, and I think there was a lot of outrage because nothing happened immediately. If you or I punch a student in the arm, I could punch a student in the arm for saying something about my life or something, disrespectful. If I punch him in the arm, I'm getting fired. And I'm getting charges pressed on me, and I'm not coming to work the next day.
They're gonna sue the school,
the district. My face is gonna be
right, and you.
But
get your lawyer.
In any situation, you have certain manslaughter cases or assault charges or whatever. If you have certain, job titles, but for some reason in these cases, where the evidence is always so clear because body cam, right? And in this case, somebody who was in the crowd had a camera.
Yeah,
so
that'd be the ultimate slap in the face.
You know what I mean?
So we gotta investigate, and it's clear.
But you shouldn't have to. And
what are you investigating? The film is right there.
And we have to wait till the facts are revealed.
That's what they say. Well, there's a due process, and that's what
I
think. What gets lost is that people want to talk about how horrible, and I get it, and then people want to talk about the reaction of people have died in protest in the last 3 days.
Oh yeah.
People have lost their lives over this. And you wonder, does it have to come to that? Do we have to burn places?
No.
It doesn't have to come to that, but at the same time, America as a nation was savage. We're talking about, if you and I had a disagreement 70 years ago, early 1900s,
Oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Let's go have a duel.
I'm in trouble.
I might shoot you, and that's it.
If you and I have an argument,
there's no law and order.
And you kill me, or your friends, like we could be friends and we could argue. And then you be like, you know what? I'm gonna let Malcolm slide. Right. But the other ones gonna be like, shit, no, we gonna get him.
Like,
and it's over.
Or I'm just saying, like,
and my wife just gotta deal with it, and my kids just gotta deal with it. You ain't going to no jail. Ain't even gonna be no trial. Ain't no charges pressed because the police with it. They not doing what they
so revenge was ultimately the main motive, I guess, back then, because there was no consequences.
Yes, like Emmett Till,
They want revenge. You kill me, I'm gonna kill your whole family. Or you kill somebody else.
All right, you just whistle at my wife.
You kill me,
and I'm out, and you out of here, buddy.
They're outside. Yeah, they're in there. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. It's just I don't like that people have lost their life because of all of this. It just doesn't make sense. It seems senseless. But years from now, people will talk about these people died for this cause. Was it worth it? What does it accomplish? You tell me, Reed. What is being accomplished by these protests?
Nothing.
It doesn't matter about that. It's the cause. It is an effect of a cause, bro. People have to understand. They all pissed off about riots and loots, but the shit would never happen if this man just get off that man's neck. That's it. But just get your ass up, dog.
I get it.
Let that man breathe.
I get it.
Mama, I want my mama. You know what that man want his mama. His mama been dead for 2 years.
Fear porn.
His mama don't even exist in the world. So he already passing over. All he gotta do is get up. The man was non-responsive for 3 minutes.
That's what was crazy.
That was the part
we could all see it.
We looking at it.
But him nor the Asian cop would turn around and look at him. They were so focused on him. They were so focused on the crowd.
They didn't even look at it.
But you couldn't tell if he was handcuffed. Because when the gurney came up, you just set him on that.
Yeah, he was already dead by then, though.
Yeah.
That was for sure. You know what I'm saying? It would have been nice if they got that earlier, but 911 is a joke. Flavor Flav said that in 91. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to that shit back then. So I'm thankful for my older brothers for introducing me to hip hop at an early age when it was kind of a voice of the oppressed. You know what I'm saying? I listen. So I teach. During the coronavirus shit, we was out of school, right? So this program that I work with, we was doing these workshops, and one of the workshops that we was doing was called Free Hip Hop, and I was the leader of that. And so I was teaching young kids about some of this older music and about how hip hop was really getting started. Hip hop was started to, it's like the messages, bro. It's the music that, like, from Negro spirituals to jazz to blues to soul to R&B to hip hop. And this is the songs of black people. This is the songs of the culture. Obviously, it's a little bit different now because who owns it? Not black people. But the main messages was about the truth of our experiences in our communities. And we talked about police brutality. We talked about drugs and whatever else, all the hip hop, the old school KRS-Ones and all that. So my point is with that is, like, if you was listening, they was telling you already back then what was going on. So you just gotta understand, like, people was pissed off back then. It ain't just starting 2020. All this shit been happening. So when you see all these riots, it's like I say, it's a cause and an effect, but not just like, it's like the straw that broke the camel back. Like, you went too far, now we gonna wild out and burn this bitch down.
Yeah.
Rodney King, Trayvon Martin, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, the list goes on. But it ain't even about what happens after. You are ignoring the part that happened that caused this. People don't just want to riot. People want shit, but they don't want to steal it if they and you know what I'm saying. If they gonna get caught.
What do they
think
think they're gonna get out of it? You know what I mean? Is a law gonna get changed tomorrow? No. You know what I mean? Is it gonna bring back people who have died during these protests?
No.
I mean, what does it do for their family? It's
That's
like,
the point.
you know what I mean? So certain cities have handled it different. In Mississippi, we've had lots of peaceful protests.
Yeah. We had one in Baton Rouge today.
And I don't understand, like, how their voices are even going to be heard or spark change. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're saying something that's been said over and over and over again. And I guess that's what you're saying. Maybe that's why people resort to violence and looting, because they feel like, you know what, this is where we are.
So, all right, I got to speak to that as the history buff I am, the history teacher I am. Like, it's like what's that? Sorry. Like, this is like par for the course as history is concerned. Like, this happens every time. So it's no different. I don't know why people expect anything different to happen. But now the trick part about these riots, if you actually been watching, so many more white people are involved in it.
Yeah.
And so many of them have been the provocateurs of
violence,
the burning and the looting, and they throw the brick and open the window up, and the black people be like, "Oh shit, it's open, let's go."
But I've seen some riots.
Let's burn this bitch down.
I mean, I've seen some protests where police officers are openly saying, "Hey, we're here to let you, express your rights as citizens.
Right. I like
we're going to be here to protect you. We'll even march with you. Let's have a parade," because we have a lot of cop friends. I have,
shout out to the cops who went to Valley with us. I love all y'all. I don't shit on y'all.
I have family members who are police officers. You know what I mean? So
I got one.
It's one of those things where, just like with teachers, you've probably heard, you know how many teachers and coaches have had inappropriate relationships, like with students and had gone to jail and stuff like that.
Right.
Or a priest that does something with
the Catholic Church.
But you can't lump all of them in. Can't say all teachers bad, all priests. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. But the immediate response is always forget.
You got to go. And there's public servants too. So like if you teachers, we are public employees. So we are held accountable when it comes to our dealings with the public. So police, they are public employees as well. State employees. They do some shit wrong, they get away with it. Because who gonna police them? Yeah. And part of it, honestly, bro, is human nature. Because if the shoe is on the other foot and black people was like in power to be racist and oppressive, who's to say who wouldn't take advantage of it? But if you smart enough and you got any kind of like conscience or soul or heart or morals, you treat people with respect and you treat people how you want to be treated. And that's kind of how I was raised. That's kind of how like
Mm-hmm.
most people who have any kind of sense was raised. But that don't mean that you know punk or nothing like you gonna let nobody mess over you. It just means you try to do the right thing, regardless, because of your character, your ethics, and your integrity. You let that speak for you. But also, you can't let nobody step on your toes for no reason. Or you gotta protect yourself. And me, as a man with a family, with a wife and kids, if something happened to them, I ain't gonna say what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I mean, I've seen videos of, black business owners who are crying out to these looters like, this one guy, he was like, man, I built my whole life for this, and you're tearing it down, stop. You know what I mean? That's my, like, you're saying Black Lives Matter, but you're destroying my business. And like I said, I don't want to get into that, but it's just, I think the vandalism and the looting is not focused on the right thing. Like, if you want to get stuff changed, there's certain things you could do, but I don't know. I mean, you tell me when recently a protest has gotten something changed, altered, turned around. You know what I mean?
I guess you could look at this George Floyd situation. They claim, I don't know the history behind it, but they claim that this was the first. This was like the fastest arrest. They used to take like 9 months to arrest a cop, and there's no conviction. But 3rd degree manslaughter or whatever, 3rd degree murder, manslaughter, whatever the case, whatever the charge is. Maybe that is. I don't really feel like that's justice, because I made a post on Facebook recently about with a Malcolm X quote that talked about speaking the language of the people who oppress you. If you're trying to be peaceful with people who not peaceful with you, they're not gonna respect that. They don't understand that language. If you gonna speak the language of the person, I can't come to you speaking French if you speak Chinese. You ain't gonna know what I'm talking about. But if I learn Chinese, we can talk. You know what I'm saying? So they not gonna respect nothing unless they lose the same thing that you lost. If I lose my life, or my family will lose my life, and you lose property, or you lose a few years of your life, that ain't the same thing. You gotta lose the same thing I lost for you to for other people to understand exactly what's going on. So I ain't saying go out and commit random acts of violence, but you gotta defend yourself, and you gotta defend your property. You gotta defend your family if you a man, and you don't ask nobody to give me that. You go take it. You go do what it takes to do it, and that's the whole Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King. I love Martin Luther King. He was a brave man. He wasn't no coward. He wasn't afraid, but he had a different approach. Malcolm X is just saying defend yourself, and if people come attack you, attack them back first. Take the fight to them if you got to. And I respect that, because that is the same thing that other people been doing in the world. You can't just let nobody come punch you in the face and then you say it's all good. Like, this just don't work like that, because they're gonna keep punching you in the face, and they're gonna take your lunch money, they're gonna take your video games. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna break in your shit, and they're gonna do whatever they want.
But I guess my questions is always, it always comes back to a black and white thing, right?
Always.
Like that's
some people I don't see color, but you gotta see it.
That's what's driving the media now is the race thing. It was COVID, it was whatever else before that, and you could tell whether you're black, white. If you talk to someone who's of the same or different race, you could tell if they're comfortable talking to you,
right,
or if they're not comfortable. Like, I could hang around white people and be like, there's some things that they say that make me think that deep down, they don't want to be sitting there having a conversation with you.
Right.
Or talking to a black person and be like, you know what, he has no he has no interest in even thinking about me as a good person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Preconceived notions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many more kids of this generation are gonna keep that mindset? Like, does this make it worse? Are more black kids now going, you know, man, forget white people and this and that because of incidents like this?
Definitely. Definitely.
But, you know, but is that the right response, though? Because it's got to start with someone, with one generation. You know what I mean? Like, the generations before us had let it get to this point. When you go back however many hundreds of years, the things that they did, you know, the old saying, you know, children pay for the sins of their fathers. Like,
right.
What has happened is what's put us in this situation right now.
Man, bro, it's so many layers to that.
I know.
To the way to respond to that.
I know. I'm just
so many
saying.
layers because, you know, like I said, I teach at this white school, and, you know, it's very important for me to be there for the black students at the school.
I teach at a predominantly black school.
There are no, for real?
Wait, what are your demographics?
It's like 80% white at the school that I work at.
80%
And
white.
it's 2,100 students, so like,
All right,
that's,
80%
I don't
white.
know the math on that. I'm
20%
a social
black?
studies teacher. No, about 10% black and 10% other.
Okay, see,
So you got a lot
ours is about
Hispanics too.
65 black,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a lot of Hispanics, whites, Asians, Middle Easterns. We have like 7 different languages spoken in our school. But anyway, yeah, it's predominantly.
So the other.
You would say predominantly black school.
Right.
And anyway,
Look at you, Butts. With your HBC.
It's not like it has nothing to do with that. I mean, I've taught at schools that were predominantly white. I've taught at some that were more Mexican or Hispanic. Either way, but I'm comfortable, just like you're comfortable.
Right.
I know how to talk to someone. I can relate because, like, I try telling kids in my class, like, you know, just talking about generational stuff. I teach, you know, PE and drug ed, and we talk about real life stuff, addiction and pharmaceutical company impact on the world, whatever. But all I can do is tell my kids to think for yourselves and don't be so quick to believe the first thing that you see. Kids believe everything they see on TV, internet, movies. They think it's all real, and they think that that's what is really happening. You know, it's crazy.
So
you know,
our head coach who recruited me to come coach football over there. You know, I'm certified as a teacher, so he's been trying to get me ever since I moved into the neighborhood. I live right across the street from this dude. He actually was. So everybody who played against Southern in 03 and 04, the head coach that I coached for was the OC, David Oliver. He was the OC of Southern. And from 03 to 05, they won the SWAC championship. We played him in Jackson. That was his first game. Mm-hmm. So he coached at the HBCU, and he straight up told me, he coached at Tulane before that. He straight up told me, like, man, look, I got like 40% black kids on this team, and we don't have no black coaches. And I'm the only black male teacher under the age of 40. The ones that's over the age of 40 is 2 of them. That's it. One of them do TR, and the other one is like ROTC. So he like, I ain't got nobody for these black kids ain't got nobody that's young that can relate to them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, bet, they need somebody. But the thing about it is, the white kids needed a black man in their life more than the black kids did. Because they don't have, all they know is NBA Youngboy and Kevin Gates. Bruh, they know more Kevin Gates and NBA Youngboy songs than I do. And they from here. I went to school with Gates and Youngboy from my neighborhood. They know more of that shit than I do, honestly. And they worship these dudes, for real. So, like, I'm able to come in from McKinley, which is the school in BR that's, you know, supposed to be hood or whatever. So they be asking me all these.
I thought that's a Struma. Struma's the hood school.
A Struma, the real hood school.
Shout out to those.
Shout out to that eye, baby.
That dirty eye. Shout out to them. That's the hood.
Indians.
You know, but McKinley, you know.
All black schools.
Lil Boosie went to McKinley. Tyra Summers, who building we in right now, you know, went to McKinley. A lot of other people, you know, from that Fredo Bangs, spent a little time in there. He from the South, whatever. South Baton Rouge. Shout out to them folks.
Hey, real quick, somebody wants to answer some questions.
We got some questions?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you go ahead and look at it. I'm going to talk about it.
Okay, go ahead.
But I have been able to be an example of what an educated black man looks like for white people in rural Louisiana. And it's invaluable. It's invaluable. Like, it's priceless to be able to be like, look, I know way more shit than you do. I know way more than your parents do about everything. You need to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't say it to them like that, but it's the truth, because they really don't understand, and it's poverty, and it's
most black people,
drug problems
they don't
deal
listen.
with.
They don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. You know what I'm saying?
They young though. Think about how we was when we was young. We didn't have no real. We was like, okay, whatever. We gonna do what we want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now.
What do you mean? What do you mean in terms of
like just teenagers in general?
But we also didn't have
social media.
Kids wake up today, the first thing they do is, even adults do this.
Yeah.
Ours was, where's my friends at? What can we get into?
I'm turning on the Blueprint in the morning. That was me in high school. So we wake up and turn on the Blueprint, and we gonna go from there. All right. So but if I tell them that they should listen to Jay-Z, they gonna look at me like, well, what is wrong with you, sir?
Listen.
I need to hear Youngboy. No.
Okay, so I'm a big, I think the first album that really made me a fan of hip hop, and I grew up listening to all music, alternative, I used to DJ a little bit, alternative rock, whatever.
DJ, what was your name? Tell him your DJ name. Tell him.
DJ Salty.
Salty?
Because of butts,
Salty butts?
Because I was white.
That's terrible.
The black kid just
salty butt cheeks.
Marcus Melvin said.
You could have came up with something better.
Anyway, regardless, I was professional. I just used my name, Trey.
All right, whatever. But
so the Outkast ATLian CD, I asked for it for Christmas. My parents got it for me. I'm like, oh, this is dope, right? I'm looking at it, and I'm opening up my CD, making my CDs, and they were like, well, we know it's parental advisory, but I was like 13 or something. And I opened it up, naked black woman, right on the CD.
Oh, yeah. Peaches.
I closed it real fast. Peaches. Anyway.
Every Outkast album had the Peaches on the CD.
But that
Thank
like...
you. Shout out to
anyway, but that was what got me liking hip-hop. And anyway, so I've been on Royce da 5'9" is one of my favorites. I like listening to lyricists who tell stories. And in my drug ed class, we did a project where they had to break down Royce da 5'9"'s song Cocaine. You heard it?
Nope.
Cocaine? I strongly advise. Royce da 5'9" was on the Book of Ryan, one of the best CDs ever.
Book of Ryan is dope.
Royce da 5'9".
Royce is dope. I like Tabernacle though.
Okay, but
because that's my son's birthday, December 29th.
Cocaine. Anyway, you need to listen to that.
All right.
So he's pretty much telling the story about how cocaine ruined his father's life.
Right.
And
I know this song.
Young black kid growing up, and he's telling about the horrible things that went on because of drugs and alcohol in his household and this and that. And I made my kids listen to it, and I'm like, break this down, and it just, like, even though it had strong content and the lyrics were empowering, they didn't want nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
They didn't want nothing. We're talking about 15 to 18-year-olds, nothing to do with it, if anything of that nature. You go listen to who's one of these young bucks out right now that's just killing it.
Young boy, he the man. Young boy is the man.
Is he a lyricist?
No.
He just randomly says stuff.
I'm not saying Young Boy is whack. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But it's like, so
Bust your
growing up
head,
back in the day, we used to BG, one of my favorite rappers, right?
Yeah.
So like BG had some bars though. Young Boy is like BG all over again, but not as good bars.
Sometimes music is not about lyrics. As I've gotten older,
Young Boy is where your fat was supposed to be.
But as you get older,
the
lyrics mean a little bit more. Right? Am I right? Because I go back listening to like 3 6 Mafia used to make so many great.
They got bars.
Somewhat. Country Black, why was
Project
he even in the game?
Pat got the bars.
Okay, I get that, and all them guys.
Project Petar.
Frasier Boy, I like all that. I'm just saying. Sometimes you go back and you listen, you're like, man, this was whack. Some of the stuff that you like when you was younger,
you're right, but not.
But now that's all they have. It, to me, is I mean, you still have some. Don't get me wrong, but the stuff that's getting the clicks and the views and the shares
ain't as good.
there's no substance in it or content.
It ain't. That's just what I was just talking about.
It's what the people want to hear.
The rock
It's what the people want to hear.
These dudes was telling us stories and like painting pictures and teaching us. They was literally educating us. KRS-One literally wrote the album called Edutainment. So he like, I'm entertaining you, but I'm educating you at the same time.
Jay-Z tried to do it with his last one.
Jay-Z be doing it.
What was
No. See, this the thing. Reasonable Doubt is edutainment, though.
it is.
You know what I'm saying? Illmatic is edutainment. These are children of KRS-One. You know what I'm saying? People don't get that. Rock, they children of Rakim.
Again, this goes back to influence.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is being influenced?
That's what I was raised on. I wasn't like all my friends started listening to rap like later, middle school. I was born and raised on this shit.
Because you had older brothers who were already.
Yeah, exactly. They had all the
Listen,
CDs. Yeah, I ain't have to ask my mama for nothing.
Yeah.
They got it in the house with the tape. When I get home from school, nobody home.
Okay, here we go.
Put on that shit.
Hold up.
And
They laughing about the salty butts. I appreciate it. Hold up.
Butts though, know what you talking about.
All right, let's get on some
But
questions.
I'm gonna tell y'all a story about Butts though that kind of like made me like look at him differently. Hold up, let me tell you this, because you had the DMX poster in your room that said "Walk in my shoes, hurt my feet, and you know why I do dirt in the streets." I saw that in your room. I was like, I fuck with him.
You know,
because it's dark in hell is hot. It's edutainment.
As a white kid in the suburbs, your heads get boosted up when Eminem came out.
Oh,
now all of a sudden, there's a level of, blackness that you think, and people would tell me, even my wife, she's like, every time, she's like, do you realize that you kind of have to talk with an accent when you get around your black friends? I'm like, do I? But
not really. I don't know.
You didn't notice, but like if I went to, just like being at Valley at school, I go back home, my friends are like, why are you talking different?
Mm-hmm.
Like the slang.
I dealt with
the
that.
slang, whatever. All right, here we go.
All right, we like an hour and 5 minutes in. Bro.
Okay, yeah, we need to start answering some questions.
So let's go ahead and chop it up with our people.
This first one says, Willie Gregory said, how do y'all as educators prepare your black male students? How do you prepare them? I'll go first on this.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Hold up, time out. Before you answer that, like, as a white male teacher, you got like a huge responsibility.
My classes are 90% black students.
All right, I'm interested. Great question, Willie Gator. And you hit people at practice too hard, bro.
That ain't Willie Gator.
That's Willie Smith.
From Memphis. Willie from Memphis, man.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. Oh, Willie G. Oh.
Okay, so if I'm preparing mine, like I said, I want my black students, players, I have some that play for me, I want them to know, they see me, they don't know me. It's hard to try to get them to know you, but they need to feel comfortable around me. Right. They need to know that what I'm saying has no ulterior motive or agenda. I'm simply trying to let these young kids know, this is my opinion, this is what I know, you need to use this to your advantage.
Right.
And also be comfortable. Don't think that I'm sitting up here speaking on a high horse, because we have open discussions in my class. That's half of my class is open discussions. Yeah. Let's get real. Let's talk Let's talk about real issues. Let's talk about this and what feedback do y'all want to talk about, or what things do y'all want to talk about, so I can give you my perspective. And there's always several students who I can tell when they're talking to me, they have this preconceived mindset about me as a white man, and I know it. I can feel it. I can see it. I can hear it.
That's what Coach Oliver told me.
But by the end of the year, there's not that tension and friction.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I said you cool people.
They realize that, you know what, Coach is really, he's a fair person, and he sees me for my first and last name, and that's it. And
that's it.
I think that's what's most important for me, is that I want to make sure that kids that I know are kind of uncomfortable lose that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just kind of say, this is my side of it, and it don't have to be like you think. You know what I mean? Because I had something hanging over my bed. Shout out to mom for the time I was little. It hung over my son's crib, my daughter's. Children live what they learn. Period. Like you see all these videos of, man, it was trending a while back, all the fights, the hoods, the apartment complex.
World star.
But you got little kids watching right there.
Not
He's
mine.
in diapers watching this
Not my
fight.
kids.
What do you
I'll
think's
be
going
damned.
through his head? You know what I'm saying?
You think that's okay?
Anyway, so, but yeah, that's how I prepare my black
All right.
students.
So for me, Willie G, great question. Again, first of all, I need them to trust me. When I was in McKinley, I was there for 9 years. My school I went to, I taught in the classroom that I sat in, so I could relate. I listened to the music y'all listen to. I sat in the same rooms, walked the same halls. I got an advantage. So I'm like, if you don't listen to me, you tripping. And the first thing I usually tell them is, what I want for you is to be better than me. If you are as good as me, at least, you're going to be all right, because I'm good. I ain't tripping. I want to be better, but I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But I need you to strive to be better than I did. I need you to not make the mistakes that I made. I need you to get the hell out of Baton Rouge. Go see somewhere else.
Or not.
No, ain't no or not. Get out of here. You ain't born and raised here, bro.
But isn't that the large majority of cities that get populated with violence? Let's just move.
Have you heard how many rappers from Baton Rouge been killed before they blew up?
Yeah.
It happens every time almost. Like Boosie and Webby, they like anomalies because they made it and they wasn't supposed to.
Let me tell you something. I don't know what he did, but in my high school, to this day, I coached football this past year. Where I live, as far these kids, they want to hear Boosie before a football game, and he hasn't even really been, out there recently.
Right, but
we
was listening.
Legendary.
I'm just
we
saying,
was
like,
listening to Boosie before
I know that,
football
I know that,
games,
I know that.
and he was in school with us. You know what I'm
who turned me
saying?
on?
It's been going on.
Yeah, y'all.
I put y'all on that boost.
This is like
J-Dog put me on Boosie.
That first year, everybody saying, "Man, this whack ass shit." Who the? That second year, Boosie was like, "Jesus Christ,
man." I remember playing Gates for everybody and like, hey, y'all better, y'all hear about this.
Never been a fan of Gates.
Gates dope. He got bars.
Or Young Boy.
But the point that I'm making, back to the point of what I teach my young black males and females as well, because that's almost more important, honestly. But just try to tell them as much truth as possible and open their eyes to what they gonna be dealing with. My father, shout out to him because he taught me so much. And so many of these kids don't have that. They like raised by women. We had when I was the head baseball coach, I had a parent meeting, right? It was 13 women, not one man. Baseball is the ultimate father-son game. Play catch dad in the backyard. You know how that started off. That's what I do with my son right now. It was all women. None of the daddies was there. Mm-hmm. So I'm tripping out. Like, what? It's baseball. I got women that gonna help me do concession stand. That's it.
Team moms.
I can't get nobody to come out to practice and help me coach.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what baseball families do. Daddies come to practice and they help out. So I'm like, I have to be a father figure for these dudes. I have to tell them, you have to have character, you have to have integrity, and you can't break that for nobody. Build your character up, build your integrity, the rest gonna take care of itself. If you just focus on doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, don't worry about, if nobody's looking, your character gonna speak for you.
Right.
What are you gonna do when nobody's looking?
My main thing is is if you're ashamed of something, you shouldn't be doing it. That's
right.
my main thing. If
Our
you're ashamed of something, you shouldn't be doing it.
Our principal used to tell the students every week, if you have to think about it twice, you probably shouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So, I always try to embody what the men who came before me that wanted me to do well, passing that down. Honestly, it started from Marlon. Honestly, I got most of the shit that I do and the way I carry myself from him. So he was always, man, I used to be doing, Marlon tell me something, I don't listen, the shit backfire. It go the wrong way. Every time. Because he like, I know what's gonna happen. If you listen to me, you're gonna be alright. The times I did, with like going to Valley instead of going to Brown, I feel like I was right by that. Other things throughout my whole entire life, Marlon was preaching, telling me, preparing me for situations that I was gonna have to deal with. And when I got there, I was ready for it. So I talk to the kids all the time. I call them little bro. They be like, Coach Reed, you put me on this, you put me on that. I put them on music. They be like, thank you for introducing me to Nas.
I have done that. I've
The Nas introductions have been the best ones out of all. I've turned, thank you for telling me about Nas, because I wouldn't listen to him if you didn't tell me.
I'm a homer. I used to always try to put y'all on David Banner because I'd be like, hey, he's awesome. Because from Mississippi. Anyway, he was okay, but like, I turned a lot of my kids on the Big Crit. I'm sitting there going, he's from Meridian. Y'all don't know who he is.
Shout out the Crizzle. Shout out the Ruffin from Meridian too.
Jeremy Ruffin, that's right. He probably hung out with him.
Scruff.
But like, I've turned some kids on to him, and I'll tell him some of the young guys, whether it's J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar, or Jordan Lucas, these guys that they have some content that they can give you some knowledge about what you're going through, but you'd rather not hear. You'd rather hear Lil Pump and these other cats.
If you listen to Lil Pump, I judge you. I tell the kids, I don't care.
Here's the
thing. I keep it real with them too. Like, look, bro, you fucking up.
I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but let me just open this out there. Since Eminem said some stuff about those cats, they have put out no music.
They terrible.
Like,
Tekashi 6ix9ine, my god brother. Y'all don't know him, but he put me on so much rap and knowledge, and like one of the smartest people I know. He listened to Tekashi, and I just be like, "What the fuck wrong with you, dog?"
Hey, I got a question from Mark. I got a question from Mark Green.
Big Mark, what's happening, boy? Shout out to Big Mark and the cigars.
Yeah,
they great, bro.
That's right.
Keep that rolling. True hustler.
Mark says, "What do you guys teach young white male students about being progressive in their thoughts and dealings with other races?" I'll start with that, Mark. So,
there's some questions right there.
Here's the thing, Mark. The white kids at the school I teach at are a minority. So, my daughter is in second grade, or just completed second grade at our school, Ann Smith Elementary in Richmond, right? My son just completed 8th grade. He's going to 9th grade.
Done.
The young Dunn is in 9th grade?
That's right. Oh. So, here's the thing. Where my school is located, we have seen a large output of white families leaving the school. As more,
white flight.
I call it what it is, the Great White Flight. It happens in a lot of different cities. People are scared. Parents go, I don't want my kids going to school with black people, not just black people, Hispanic people, whatever. So they go to the private schools and this and that. They put their money into private schools, and I went to private school and public school, but they could be putting it back into the public schools and the community, and regardless, the white kids as minorities, it's crazy because you look at my daughter's second grade class. I went to watch one of her plays this year. Mm-hmm. You couldn't tell the predominant race in the second grade at Ann Smith Elementary. Whites, blacks, Hispanics. We got a lot of mixed families in Mississippi.
That's the best.
I'm a mixed family, come from one, and my wife too. So these kids, they grow up in a school where they see every color around them. You know what I mean? So essentially, they're already kind of prepared. But we talked about this earlier. The generations. These parents, once they get to middle school, guess what? Time to go to private school.
Private school?
I get it if it's academically or whatever, but our school is wonderful academics, athletics. We got great coaches, good teachers. But my thing is that's what we're doing. We're continuing to tell your kids, why are we going to private school, Dad? Why do I got to go to this school? You're not going to tell them too many black people.
No, they ain't going to tell their kids that.
They're not going to say that.
They're not going to say that.
But let's be honest.
That's what it is.
The majority of them do that. Well, that's why private schools were created in the first place.
Look, and before I went to Valley and saw how they was doing in Mississippi, like all the white kids went to private school, including you, buddy. No disrespect.
I
I know you went to North Rankin for a little while.
Oh, that's Rankin, yeah.
But that was it.
Okay, so
All right.
Mark, what you're saying, how do we teach them about being progressive? So I feel like it's already there because we have multiple races. Like on my soccer teams I coach, we have 4 different languages spoken. So they're around it. It's right in their face, and they're more comfortable. Just different color skins of people. But so essentially, Mark, the 1-2 guys on the football team, they're in a black culture. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what they're going to be exposed to while they play sports. If you play, whatever sport, and white kids are the minority. But
so I can speak to it because at McKinley it was the same deal. Like you got a few white kids. I had a few take my African American studies class, and I ain't like sugarcoat shit. Like I just told them the facts, and you gotta deal with the truth. And I had 2 white students out that stand out in my mind. One was a male and one was a female, but they was like all in, not on no ally shit, just like learning and like because they cared about the education. So I didn't sugarcoat anything. Like I taught them what I teach, and there is no Louisiana state curriculum for African American studies. So I wrote my own curriculum, and I taught what I wanted to teach, and that was it. And my administrators supported that. And I also produced the Black History Month program, which the first year I did it, I gave a speech where I told them like black people made the pyramids and everything, and the white teachers was hot. They was like, they went and told the principal on me. And I went, before he could call me in, I went to him like, hey, look, I know the teachers talking about me. One of them was my American history teacher, who treated me beautifully. Like, still she was working when I was teaching, and we had many conversations about many things. She treated me like a son, but she didn't teach me the things that I learned that I should have been taught later. But at St. Amar, at this predominantly white school where I'm teaching, and I have to be the black man who represents all black people because I'm the only black person that they see.
That's way on the shoulder.
It's like a burden, but it's like I'm ready for that shit. Like I embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it.
But so one thing I do is to try to show them what a professional, educated black man looks like. I wear shirt and tie, button up and tie every Monday and Tuesday, and they see that. They see me looking clean and fresh. And when I say I wear my button up and shirt and tie, I be looking good. You know what I'm saying? So first thing first, image. Second thing is being myself. Like I don't try to like I told y'all earlier, I don't change my accent. I probably thicken it up a little bit just so I can sound a little bit more hood, but then hit them with all this knowledge that I know about everything to just be like, let them know like, look, I'm real, but I'm also smarter than people that you really know. Yeah. So like,
and know how to be proper and respectful and
like just classy. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't like me being fake. That's like me just being 100% authentically myself. And I can't be nothing else anyway. So I let my swag, my emotions, my image, everything, I let that speak for me, and then I represent black people, black men specifically in that way. And take it or leave it. I ain't tripping on some people might not, all of them don't like me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't cool with all of them, but the football players, when I'm with them and I'm on that field, and they really get the real side of me, and I earn their respect because I demand it, and I demand excellence from myself first, and then I could demand it from someone else next. It's kind of like that Michael Jordan shit. Like if you don't want to play that way, that's on you. Don't get around me if you ain't gonna play that way. But I'm coming with it, and if you can't keep up with what I'm asking of you, then holla. I ain't fucking with you.
Just hit the close on that. Hit close.
Shout out to Buddy Lee.
Yeah, hey,
because he's an educator too.
Quick,
but I know he might have to deal with
real
the
quick,
same thing.
Cam Russ said.
Buddy Lee, musty lip.
Cam Russ said, I went to an all-black high school, and when I got to Valley and saw white people, that felt weird. Cam, I get that. It probably felt weird, but Can you?
Gandy baby in the building.
So imagine being in my shoes, Cam. Okay, I had one black kid in my whole senior class, graduating of like 27. His name was Joe Rule. He was our point guard.
Of course he played point.
He went to the Navy. He was 5'7", could dunk.
He could dunk?
He could dunk. 5'7".
Anybody else could dunk on your team?
Nope. None of the white kids could dunk.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, that was the senior. Let's see. It says, if you ever had to deal with racism in your classroom, how do you deal with difficult white teachers that can't relate to black students? Listen, you're going to have... I've never had direct racism in my classroom, but let me tell you something that's funny. I've taught at several different schools. One school I taught at that was majority Hispanic, they said the N-word amongst each other more than the black kids at the school did.
Keep going. I got something.
No, I'm serious.
Go ahead.
The black kids didn't care. The Hispanic kids and the black kids that were friends, they would call each other that, right? So, and this was like 2013, 14. I'm thinking, when did we evolve to Hispanic kids saying the N-word more than black kids saying the N-word to each other? And I never was one, but I even knew some white kids that would, call each other
Keep
that.
going. I'm about to
You know
go.
what I mean?
I got
So,
something.
in terms of like, he's talking about having racism in the class, whatever, white teachers, like, I've never had racism in the class, just flat out incidences where we had racism, different views, but never none of that. And I think because Mississippi students, it's right in your face.
Right.
I mean, in terms of what he's talking about, other white teachers, listen, I've worked with plenty of teachers, and I'll just say this real quick about that. Some teachers come to school with a chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing, whether the white or black, whatever. You can tell how they talk and act towards students. That you're just like, man, why do you do this? Why are you teaching?
Right.
Like, why are you here?
Right.
If all you want to do is start a fight with a student. I'm going to try to talk to every one of my students, black or white, when we have a disagreement. And if it gets to a point to where I feel that I've been disrespected, that's where I draw the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to cuss at me, call me out my name, you know what? I'll take the 5 minutes to fill out some paperwork to write you up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna be like,
every time. Oh my God. Oh.
I'm not gonna create this race war with a student, which so many teachers do. You know what I mean? And you gotta have empathy for kids.
You got to have empathy.
We don't, like the DMX thing you were talking about, you have no idea what this kid had to do when he woke up this morning.
You walk in my shoes, you gonna hurt your feet.
Like you have no. So these teachers that don't have this empathy, it's frustrating to me. And talking about how do I deal with other teachers, I try to just, interfere and be like, listen, not make excuses for that teacher, but almost talk to that student, intervene and trying to keep the peace.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, look, I tell the students, hey, look, I know this teacher tripping, but don't sacrifice your character and your integrity because they gonna use that against you. Don't compromise your own self because you gonna lose. And if the same thing, if they get flipped with me, it ain't really happened too many times. I could count on my hands the times I wrote kids up. And I'm talking about at McKinley, where the black kids was at. That I know half of their families and stuff. So, I dealt with that a little bit. But they would always come to me like, Coach Reed, this person said this. And especially when I'm teaching African American studies and they taking American history. Well, Coach Reed, they taught us something different. They told us, man, but they lied then.
I feel like every time you say African American studies, I think of How High. There was,
just study high.
Just that scene where they walked out of the classroom, and he's...
We didn't land on him. Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so, and I had to confront, because the Black History Month program, all the teachers that was talking behind my back, I went to each and every one of them individually and had a conversation. Like, look, what you gotta say about me behind my back, you can say it to my face. Let's talk about it. What you gotta say? Like I ain't come at them like I'm big. I'm gonna check you because I know they don't want that smoke. But I'm like, why don't you tell me to my face what you gotta say about me?
By the way, somebody said that Justin Wilson said Bass don't want this smoke.
You go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit down.
No.
Hold up, cause I gotta go in right quick.
Hold up.
Best buddy Lee.
What did you say?
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. So look, because that's a question I want to answer, and my story at Santa Monica is a little bit different because just like you were saying how the white boys want to say the N word like it's cool, like they talk to each other like that. And I'm like, I caught one student we want to throw foes up in the picture. I'm like, hold up, dog. You ain't from that. You don't know what that's about. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. I know everybody let that slide around you, and I'm not from South Baton Rouge. But that's my, I got a pass there. You don't have permission from me to say it, to do that. So
Are we talking about saying the N-word right now?
Oh, I'm getting that.
Okay.
So they say the N-word to each other. And I caught one of them said it to the other one in my class. I had to write him up.
Like kids?
The white kid saying it to another white kid. I wrote his ass up.
Did he go like, you nigga, did he get in there?
He was like, they was just saying, they just be saying it like, yeah, like we said. Yeah. So I'm like, they really think that it's cool. So I had to tell the coach, I had to tell all the people around, like, look, I am not okay.
I got boogers.
That. Boy, if you... But I had to really educate him on it. Like, look, after I wrote that kid up for just saying it, because the other students around him heard it, and they was like, Coach Reed, he said it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna write you up, dog. And then the next day, I talked to every one of my classes and say, look, we gonna talk about this N-word in here. Y'all ain't never heard me say it not one time in my classroom. That means it is not allowed. Any word that you don't hear from me, you can't say it. And the black kids who allow it to go down and don't say nothing because they're scared because they outnumbered, y'all need to check y'all selves.
I don't know, bro. I ain't heard from Texas since we left Badland.
Man, back up. I'm going in right now because this is an epic story. Because this is my first year at this all-white school who has a history of racism. Because when we played Santa Monica football, you're going to get called a nigga.
Yes.
And they
white guy broke my toe. A white guy stepped on my foot.
All white school?
Broke my toe.
Yeah, all white.
And said, you fucking nigger. And ran off the field.
I played private school. We had a lot of black guys on the football team, but schools we played against that...
They would call him a nigga, wouldn't they?
I'm split in. I'm going to block the DB. We're running a pitch or something. And swear to God, the DB, he's going, I'm going to get you. Like, running at him. I'm like, did you just say this? I'm trying to block you, dude. What's going on?
Bro, they said so much at my school that I work at that every time I hit, I put the face on like, hey.
But they're comfortable because they're surrounding
because they listen to it in the music and they say it around the black kids who give them a pass to say it. But I ain't giving them that pass.
And that's what
I'm not giving the black kids a pass to give them a pass.
But sometimes there's
hate. I'm checking everybody and I tell my administration, like, look, I'm going around checking every student who used the N-word at this school. And if y'all can't accept me doing that, then I'm gonna have to go. I ain't say it like that, but I'm just saying I am going to do it, and they say cool, and that's it. That's why I'm happy to be where I'm at because I'm making an impact not only for these black kids but for the white kids as well.
Well, no, you're right. It's the influence of it.
It's just to set the standard because that shit ain't alright.
Well, I have on my male soccer team, my high school team this past year. I think I had we have 30 something kids rostered, 32 rostered, maybe 7, 8 or black boys. On the male side, I have more whites and Hispanics. On the girl side, a lot more black girls. But regardless, these 3 black kids, 2 were brothers, and they use the N-word around each other so much during practice, just goofing around. I had to tell them, like, guys, y'all can't be doing this,
right?
Because I don't. And just like I don't want them cursing and stuff like that. And like you said, you don't want them to do because the ones around them the white kids and Hispanics are like, well, you know, that's what they grew up knowing. They hear whatever, they're comfortable with it. But yeah, anyway, it was just one of those things where I've always been.
I ain't with that shit at all.
I understand, but everywhere I've been, it's always been diverse.
Yeah, right. You have, but mine has been like from one extreme to the next. And I only been at San Marcos 1 year, so this is my first year, and I'm like setting the tone for like if you around Coach Reed ain't playing with you.
All right, well let me ask you a question.
Serious.
Let me ask you a question. Of course, HBCUs aren't as prominent as they were because now you can go to Arkansas State and play on ESPN. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
I'm listening to you. I'm just scrolling.
When you decide as a black kid, teenager, you're going to go to an HBCU, are you making a statement and saying, I'm going here because it's 90% black and I want to be around
saying
that?
For a black student?
Yeah. I'm saying for you, you know, you're coming out like are you saying, because you know what it is.
Right.
Like, if you know what HBCU is, I could ask the white kids and Hispanic kids, you ever heard of Alcorn?
They don't know.
What?
They don't have a clue.
Black kids go, yeah, it's HBCU. I see black kids wearing it, mamas and daddies were
right. They holding it down.
But I'm saying, are you making some kind of subconscious choice? You know what I mean?
I didn't.
I know.
Because I was just going well with my brother.
No, I get it.
I had
but
one brother at once
and
the other brother.
Not everybody gets a
It didn't really
scholarship.
matter.
Not everyone gets a scholarship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But so I look at it like this because in elementary school, I got into this gifted program in East Baton Rouge Parish School System. I was the one black kid in the class, well, one black male. It was always like about 5 or 6 females, and then me, maybe 2 other black dudes, and then a bunch of white people, and maybe some Chinese or Asian. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but I went. My school experience in the classroom was all minority. It was a minority experience for me. That's why I was always comfortable around white people. You know, people probably wonder how Malcolm hang with white people all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably was wondering.
You got a little white guy in you.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Coach Reed.
Really.
Malcolm Reed. He white boy. You know what I'm saying? Oreo, whatever. The people, and I don't accept that shit anymore. But I was like, whatever. Y'all can say whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really like that either.
I went to HBCU and connected with you. Connected with the baseball team. I love baseball. Most white people play baseball. You know what I'm saying? So I played baseball in high school. I was with a bunch of white dudes. One of which is a great friend of mine. Like other than you, I got one other white friend who is like my brother. You know what I'm saying? And my best friend who was in high school with me, who went to the Coast Guard Academy and was with a bunch of white dudes, is gonna marry a white girl soon. So, I was always integrated. My experience was always integrated. And that really helped me to see, because I could decipher which white boys or which white girls was like when they saw me, and which was like, whatever, ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, you being right across the hall from us and us kicking it, you could have been an asshole too, but you wasn't.
And there was there was a lot of white kids that would come to Valley.
The baseball
and
team.
like, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
Like this is.
Yeah, I could see it.
I'm uncomfortable.
It was easy for me to see the ones who were uncomfortable
you knew
and who weren't.
You knew it.
Because I had been with that since 4th grade. It was like early for me to get those experiences. So, I appreciate that diversity of my life because it's helped me in so many different ways to be able to navigate different experiences and different spaces. Specifically the one that I'm in right now.
People always say, well, that's the real world, is the different races and cultures, but not necessarily, because there's moms and dads right now who are trying to create these laid out planned futures for their children to not
ever interact with another race.
Yeah, like, I want to make sure that my white daughter never interacts with black people because Lord, God forbid, she marry a black guy and they have black kids.
Do you know, Buzz? You're my first white friend. You're the first white guy I ever stayed at his house.
I never stayed at any white dude's house before, Trey Butts.
Right.
But my boy Rob,
I've stayed at both of y'all's houses before.
We would go over there all the time. Like I hung out and they would cook. Man,
I never got
really
personal with a white boy like I got personal.
But I was never. That's the thing. My parents,
Your
My parents started a business, you know, and ran a business together for 30 plus years. When they were getting the business off the ground, they used to send me to Big Mama's. Black lady ran a farm, and I stayed with her from the time I was 0 to 3, 4 years old or whatever. There was 4 people that worked in my parents' company.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my dad, Ed and Rob. What color do you think Ed and Rob were?
It was black.
It was black. Ed and Rob. So, and my mom and dad. It was just they put out some interviews and they loved these 2 guys and it became like family. So right away, not even know it subconsciously, I'm comfortable. And I don't even really know these people.
And Vernon.
You know what I mean? So, but I'm comfortable and don't even know it. You know what I mean? So it's never a question. My wife married a black man.
Your wife married a black man?
My wife's sister married. My wife's half Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
She, her dad's full Puerto Rican anyway. But my brother-in-law is black, and we have mixed nieces and nephews.
Right.
Yeah. I know we're getting kind of going over some time, but anyway.
I've been on here for like 3 hours.
Yeah, we've been going for a minute. I'm gonna tell one more little story, little police story, okay? And I want to get your opinion on this.
All right, go ahead. Scruffing in the building.
Referring to my mixed brother-in-law, my black brother-in-law, whatever. So I'm in my hometown. I think I was in. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus right here, no police officers, so I'm just going to say I was in my hometown at that time, which is not currently where I live, and I was visiting my sister and brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. My son was born, my daughter wasn't born yet, my son was probably 4, 5, 6. I was going to drop him off over there to play with his cousins. Hang out with cousins for the day. Right?
His black cousins.
Black cousins. All black neighborhood.
Yeah. That's
all black neighborhood.
Young Thun.
There's not one white family that lives in this neighborhood.
Right.
And I actually got pulled over leaving that neighborhood.
By a white cop?
By a white cop. Why do you think he pulled me over?
Because you was a white dude in a black neighborhood.
Exactly. And that's exactly what he told me.
Yeah.
I said,
what you doing here?
I said, what are you pulling me over for? Well, your window tint, here we go, talking about being prepared. There's my sticker right there, legal. Well, I don't know if here's a paperwork right here I keep in my glove box. Legal tint. Well, okay, well, now you're acting kind of nervous though, what do you, I said, you just admitted that you told me you pulled me over because I'm a white guy in a black neighborhood and you're assuming, profiling that I'm buying drugs.
He profiled you.
Right? Young guy, you was younger than me.
I be profiling the dudes and the white dudes in the neighborhood too.
I'm just saying, it's not profiling that's wrong.
I can't front.
It's not. I wasn't buying drugs. I wasn't going to pick up drugs.
What if one of the homeowners would have stalked you and came and killed you because you seemed out of place?
That wouldn't happen. It would to him. It would happen to me.
Okay, I'm trying to go over this. It's like I was teaching school at the moment. That neighborhood I was in, I had a lot of students that lived in that neighborhood that knew me. They called me Koba. Because I didn't enunciate. Koba. Anyway, so got pulled over and telling me about this is drug area and blah, 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 this and that. Got me out of the car. Before 2 minutes had gone by, there's 2 more police officers rolled up. Right? Ooh. And they wanted to search my car, and of course I was denying. You got to know your rights, people. You can say, nope, can't search my car. You need to get a warrant, this and that. And during that time, I'm going, man, what happens when there's blue lights going on outside of your house? What are you going to do? If you see flashing blue lights outside of your window, you'll go outside, right?
Yeah. So
half an hour goes by, there's people everywhere, just outside. Yeah. Wondering why there's 3 police cars and me pulled over and outside of my car being interrogated. Nothing happened. I didn't get arrested, ticketed, nothing. Was let go, and I just wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the chief of the police exclaiming how disappointed I was.
Oh, you wrote a letter?
I wrote a letter. But, yeah.
This one's about to die.
It is. But, what if those kids saw that?
Your students.
They see Coach Butts out there. He's doing this. He's doing that. What's going on?
Right.
But in a way, the ones that saw it, they were like, dang. They said, it kind of connected us. The kid was like, you got pulled over? What was you being? I said they just pulled me over because I was in black neighborhood.
Hey,
So
but what about that weekend you was in Baton Rouge with me and you got caught peeing on the side of the
Oh,
Domino's pizza?
You gonna get us fired?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Listen.
I'm fucking with you.
And butts,
my bad.
the cops looked down, butts dingling in hand, taking a urine on the side of the building, and the cop just let him go, didn't say nothing. On the other hand, if it was me, and I'd had a boot in my neck, might have died. You never know.
And that's the truth, though.
Well,
That is the truth.
And it was a black cop.
It was.
It
On
was a
a
black
lighter
cop.
note, this is. I don't want to end on this, but I think we pretty much been talking for long enough. If all cops was black,
No, what if black cops could get away with what white
what if
cops
Trump
could
was
get?
like, no more white cops allowed in the police force, only black cops.
Oh.
We'll make all the white guys fired.
The white people
Hey,
are right.
it'll be
The white people are right.
Oh my
and shut
God!
down.
Think about the backlash of the scared white people of black cops.
Well, there's a lot of white
'Cause
cops that have never been in a black neighborhood.
There are I noticed this year at St. Amar, and I don't want people to get it twisted if you listen to this and you think I'm putting the school down, because it just is what it is. But I love it. I love it where I'm at. I love my neighborhood. I love my community, and I'm gonna do everything for it to make it right. But a lot of the white kids, not a lot, but there are a few that I can tell struggle to deal with the authority of a black man over them. You know what I'm saying? So white people.
It goes both ways.
a
No,
lot-
it goes both ways.
Oh, a lot of black kids don't want to
That's
deal.
why they already looking at you like,
Look,
ready to.
There's there are administrators who know which kids who to send to who. You know what I'm saying? So I know that I have to tell the black kids at the school, hey man, you gotta listen to your teachers or whoever telling you what to do. I don't care what color they are. You just gotta listen to them and roll with the punches, dog. But it's the same. You're right though. It's vice versa, because I'm sure you done had struggles with black students that just don't want to listen to you because fuck that white dude.
But
You know
they
what I'm
don't.
saying?
It's not until they get comfortable throughout the year.
Trust
They go, you know what?
is
He's
the
not
key.
he's
You
not
have
racist."
to get them to be able to trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not gonna listen. And if they can't listen and don't trust you, they're not gonna learn nothing. And that's what we're here for. So you have to remind them, what is the purpose of you being here? You have to come, because if you don't, your parents gonna go to jail.
True. See.
So you know you gotta be here. So we might as well make the best of the situation. It's just like going to Valley, where you at a place where it ain't nothing to do. You can't sit there and complain. If you gotta complain the whole time, just leave.
Ooh, used to hate that. Used to hate hearing people talk
Just
about how
stop
bad that
whining
was. Just leave
And
them, man.
just make the
Just get
best
outta here.
of the situation as it is. And with that said, shout out to everybody who showed up on this live to listen to us rant about whatever we rant about, or just talking noise.
I know we got on
clowning.
late, but
Yeah, and sorry about the technical difficulties.
We'll be better next
They
time.
really weren't technical. They was us not being smarter than the phone and Facebook. But we appreciate the listeners that we have, and we appreciate y'all as our Valley fam, no doubt about that. But we gonna have to sign off right now after an hour and 45 minutes and say thank you for being here with us right now, as this is our pilot episode of
but just a
whatever
kind of
we
teaser
end
to
up
see
calling
if
this thing.
people want to hear this info.
Yeah, so y'all can give us some feedback. Why that Raiders Cup there?
Yeah.
Raider Nation, baby.
And yes,
And shout out to Kobe Bryant, R.I.P.
Cam
the man.
Russ, listen, we can have you on.
We got you,
We
Cam.
could do.
And
we could do a
Mark
special
Green,
dance,
you
whatever.
know you on the list. Big boy, we want you too. Tyler Knight, we gotta have you. If y'all wanna holler at us, let us know. Whenever we get this thing situated for real, but we really was planning on pushing it back a little bit. But with all that's going on, we was like, no sense in waiting. Step out your comfort zone and go get what you want and do what you want to do. So hopefully we can be examples.
And just
for
try.
y'all.
Just
And
try.
see, these guys are educators, so they gotta be politically correct. So I'm gonna start my own, cause I ain't no teacher and I ain't gotta be politically correct.
You
And I'm
should.
with the bullshit.
He in Facebook jail right now, so free base.
Yeah, he's looking at our face.
That's no pun intended, or actually pun intended. Pun intended for sure. Free base.
All right.
I see you, Landy. Shout out to you. Shout out to the twins.
Yeah, we may try to do this a week from now. We don't know yet. It's just kind of up in the air, right?
We gonna do it for sure. We gonna
We'll do
keep
it
this
again.
rolling,
Yeah,
but
so
you know
too.
we don't know when, but we gonna make it happen. And you know we couldn't do it without y'all because this experience and this connection is a
Right.
family thing. Like we speaking on the voice of y'all, and I know we actually on the same time right now as Dayke and Jamal. Shout out to the Crib podcast because I really watch their episodes and you know listen to them too because they funny as hell. And they be clowning, so I ain't trying to steal they thing. Like, listen to all of us. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them.
I'm gonna say I'm doing live in Facebook.
Who said that, buddy?
Big Mark.
Big Mark. He ain't never coming home, Big Mark.
Okay.
Free me out of
but that's
Facebook jail, man.
That's it.
All
We
right.
done?
Yeah.
We did it, bro.
All right.
All right, bye, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Signing off.